Hey, Megan Scully, and this is the Limerick Post Show. And joining me now, it's singer-songwriter Edel Meade. How are you keeping?
I'm great, Megan. Delighted to be here. Thanks a million for having me.
Oh, look, it's great to chat to you. You came from the lovely Clonmel in Tipperary, but now you're artist in residence in St. John's Square in Limerick. So how has that been for you?
Um, well, it's great. I guess just to probably explain. So I grew up in Clonmel and went to school there, and then I went up to Dublin for college, and I would have been there for 16 years, and then came down to Limerick to do a masters in the Irish World Academy. So I'm still here in Limerick now, but yeah, just there was a good few years in between Clonmel and coming here. So
Well, I'll tell you, UL is great though for doing that. It kind of, I feel like it, once it gets hold of us at all, it's very hard to let go of Limerick because the campus and everything on offer is so great there.
absolutely, and like just I don't know. Well, when you're living somewhere like Dublin, you kind of just forget that other places are out there, and definitely like Castroy is such a gorgeous area, and I loved it there. I mean, I teach there now, so I'm still here, and they do kind of say that once you sort of get it there, there's no going out. You can check in, but you can't check back out.
Oh, absolutely. I found myself 4 years in UL, a breakaway for a few years, and now I'm back here 5 years. So someone said to me, once you're 10 years in Limerick, you're officially a Limerick person. So I was like, well, I'm nearly there.
That's it.
Now, Edel, talk to us about being an artist in residence in Limerick. How did that come about for you?
Well, it was last summer actually. I just saw a notice. The Limerick City County Council where they had a call out for artists in residence, and basically they were offering six artist apartments here in John Square. And I guess it's quite an innovative scheme, if you like, because what they do is there's a beautiful old building, and all the apartments have been renovated, and it's basically available for artists at a very much subsidised rate. So it means that we have a place to work from, a place to live, and it's affordable, and like being an artist, it's not we're not in it for the money, so just a scheme like this is just invaluable. I'm thrilled to be here.
It's absolutely incredible. And especially, I think it goes without saying the year that artists have had in terms of no gigs. So income obviously then has been massively affected. And, there hasn't been as much
Yeah.
opportunities to probably make maybe money that there would have been pre-COVID. So it is such a great scheme. And I think it's really great that I've noticed even in the last couple of years, especially in Limerick, the way they now really nurture artists and people in the creative space.
I have to say, like, I really give credit where credit's due, because I think maybe there's one other place in the country that offers something similar in terms of artists' accommodation. But, like, really, I'd love to see this taking off all over the country, and it's really it's incredible. But it's also great for the community as well, because they have artists, like doing this for a living, and it works both ways. But really, fair play to the Limerick City County Council for this initiative.
It is. It's such a great scheme. And I think as well, Limerick is just such a creative city overall. But the reason, of course, we're talking today is album number two, Brigids and Patricias. Congratulations, first of all.
Much. Yeah, so the release date is International Women's Day, the 8th of March. And I guess I started working on this while I was doing the MA songwriting in UL. And I suppose before that, I should probably say, Megan, I spent over 10 years as a professional jazz vocalist. First of all, I did a degree in journalism, would you believe? And then I did a degree in jazz performance right after it. And then I spent years just performing and, I suppose building experience and playing with different musicians in different scenarios. And then I was kind of going, well, I was teaching a lot as well, and people were calling me like an expert in jazz and blues. And I was like, oh, okay. Okay, and something about it didn't sit well with me, because I was like, right, I'm from Clonmel. There's not much of a history of jazz or blues there. And then I found I was over in Havana. I did an
Wow.
amazing course and was performing in Havana in Spanish. And like,
Oh
I
my
don't speak a word of Spanish. And I just something kind of went off, and I was like, what is going on? This is something isn't right here. You need to go and learn about music from where you're from and from Ireland, because I never was into I never had any exposure to trad growing up, so that was sort of a light bulb moment, and that's what brought me to Limerick to do the MA songwriting. And then I did the MA in trad music right after it, because I was just like, I need to fill in all the gaps here.
Wow, that is some story. You just dropped it in there about the jazz and the blues and Havana. And And I have to say, like we've had John Daly on this show talk about the jazz festival in Limerick, because that's one thing is I know the album is about trad, but even the jazz scene in Limerick is actually really strong.
It is. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, I was only talking to John a few days ago. Yeah, he's a great man, and Joe Callahan and Ed Hansom as well. They're doing great things here, and they're educating young people as well, which is brilliant. Like I didn't have any of that access to that when I was growing up in Clonmel, and it's just amazing. You know, it really is, and the community is there, and once they can learn it, and once there's a festival, they can see practitioners. It's really inspiring. But just to clarify, the new album, it's not. I wouldn't go to call it trad. It's sort of it's reflecting on what it means to be a woman living today in 21st century Ireland. So definitely informed by Irish history, informed by Irish folklore, informed by contemporary society. Maybe there's a small bit that it might sound like trad in that there's I've used quite a few drums throughout, but no, it doesn't really sound like anything else. Is the feedback that I'm getting.
That's amazing though too. And I think I love the way that you've taken inspiration from what you've learned, what's around you, but also it being March 8th being International Women's Day as well. So I was actually speaking to an artist recently, and she was saying she lives by the coast, and she was saying her album is very much so influenced by the ocean and the what around her, like the earth and stuff. So I was like, it's so amazing to see us all, taking what's around us, especially during lockdown when there's not really very far we can travel, and but being able to incorporate that into your life and your music.
It's really interesting the way that happened. And yeah, as you said, with lockdown, it's just, we had to kind of just look at where we are and where our feet are. And yeah, like I think in the past, jazz and blues seemed really attractive and exotic. And I still love it. But no, like I think a person needs to kind of understand where they're from. It's so important. And definitely with me writing these songs and doing the research, I have a much deeper understanding of who I am as an artist. And I should say as well, Meghann, I was very inspired by a Limerick woman, Lady Mary Heath, who is from Newcastle West originally. So are you familiar with
No,
her?
I'm not actually.
She was the first woman in the world to fly solo in a small plane from Cape Town in South Africa over to London. Like she would in the 1920s. Like in the 1920s, she was one of the most famous women in the world, and she actually would have sold some of her planes to Amelia Earhart, and she would have trained many of the pilots that went on to work for like when Aer Lingus was formed in the 1930s. So like this extraordinary Limerick woman, totally like ahead of her time. So yeah, she inspired a song on the album called Lady Icarus.
Well, I'll tell you, I need to do more research on her because that is just incredible. I'm like, what?
I know. Like she grew up here. Now she would have spent a lot of time in Dublin and in England as well. But no, she's from here. She's a Limerick woman. There's no secret about that.
Absolutely unreal. I have to say, we've some very, like, even looking back in the early, like the 20s and 1900s, and there's been some amazing women. I know their murals are painted around Limerick City when you walk around the three bridges and everything. So it's wonderful as well to see someone as yourself bringing these women into the 21st century, and you educating me anyways, and our those who are watching about this incredible woman.
But I suppose there's so many incredible women there, and they need to be celebrated because
Yeah.
we don't know about them. I was the same. I'd never heard about her, and then when I heard she'd sold planes to Amelia Earhart, and like we all know who Amelia Earhart is, I was like, this is ridiculous. So definitely, but I think there's a bit of a resurgence, isn't there, in the last couple of years? Like her story as well. There's all the it's really shining a light on all these great women. So I do feel like yeah, things are there's definitely a shift. Things are changing.
Yeah, it's absolutely incredible. And I have to ask you, Del, where can we keep up with your music? Where are you on social media? Where can we find you?
Well, I'm on all the usual places. I mean, my website edelmeade.com is the place to go to buy a copy of the album, or Bandcamp for the digital release. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You'll find me in all those places.
And of course, a reminder, March 8th, your second album, Brigids and Patricias, is out. I have to say, I adore the name of it. I think it's so brilliant.
Thank you, thank you. Oh, delighted to hear that.
And thanks for challenging us in the Limerick Post show. And look, hopefully, I know I say this in a lot of my interviews, but hopefully the next time we'll chat, we'll be either at a venue or face to face somewhere in a studio, and at a gig or something.
Absolutely, yeah. Enough of this Zooming and stuff. We need to yeah get back together. Thanks a million for having me on the show, Meghann.